The security situation in Germany and Europe compels us to revive this tradition, and at the same time, we are sending a signal. Security is a priority for this federal government as a whole, high on the political agenda. This is our message to the citizens in our country. But it is also a signal to our allies in Germany, in the European Union, in NATO, a signal that Germany is a capable partner in Europe and in the new NATO. Before the cabinet meeting, before the decisions in the cabinet, we had the Commander-in-Chief of NATO forces in Europe, General Alexis Grinkiewicz, and discussed the military situation with him. Grinkiewicz has been the new commander since July 4th of this year. Chancellor, that is, the Supreme Allied Commander Europe of NATO forces. His briefing was very clear. Russia is and remains the greatest threat to freedom and peace for a long time, and for stability in Europe. And the German government responds to this with determination. We have quickly initiated important laws to strengthen the Bundeswehr. And we have already set the course for faster and better procurement of weapons and equipment. At the same time, we are pursuing active peace diplomacy to end the killing in Ukraine and safeguard our security interests. We are contributing to unity in Europe. We stand firmly by Ukraine's side, and we are striving to strengthen the transatlantic partnership. All this is necessary, but it is not sufficient. Because Russia has long been conducting hybrid attacks against us through sabotage, cyber attacks, and targeted disinformation. We experience this when cables in the Baltic Sea are destroyed. We experience it through targeted attacks on our IT security. We experience it through massive interference in our democracy as well. Here, the entire federal government is called upon, not just individual departments. We need to become faster, more creative, and more determined by strengthening our infrastructure, enhancing our coordination, and making our society as a whole more resilient. Therefore, the Cabinet has set important initiatives in motion today. An important resolution of the day is the establishment of a National Security Council. Ladies and gentlemen, this topic has been discussed in Germany since it has been discussed for 30 years. This coalition decided on it in 4 months and brought it to Parliament today. It has been discussed for 30 years. We decide after 4 months. This body will be a central platform of the federal government for overarching national security issues, at the intersection of internal, external, economic, and digital security. Security is also not confined to a single department, cannot be assigned to one area alone. It concerns all of us, and at the same time, the establishment of this National Security Council enables forward-looking strategic work, for example, through the continued development of the National Security Strategy. The National Security Council will be an important component of our cohesive security policy approach. In addition, today we have initiated the law to strengthen the military counterintelligence service. In doing so, we protect our soldiers and their families even better than we have in the past. Finally, we have agreed on the law for the modernization of military service. With this, we are implementing a key project of the coalition agreement. Boris Pistorius will add to this shortly. We'll say a little more about this in detail. Our common goal is to strengthen the personnel of the Bundeswehr as necessary today. We want to make military service more attractive and to attract more young people to serve in the Bundeswehr. This is an important step. It is clear that this federal government is fully aware of the security and threat situation we are currently living in, both in Europe and across the world, and what this means for Germany's responsibility in Europe and the world. Therefore, the cabinet meeting was also entirely focused on this. I made it clear that as far as Germany and our security architecture in Germany are concerned, a functioning Bundeswehr requires that the country functions. We need a functioning country. That means we need stable bridges, we need healthcare, food security, energy security. We need all of this, digital security, so that the Bundeswehr can ultimately fulfill its mission. We have also conveyed this message of shared responsibility of the entire federal government. We have sent out very clearly once again today. We have initiated 2 laws today. The Federal Chancellor mentioned this. Let me start with the law on the new military service. As is well known, major events cast their shadows ahead. This is especially true for the new military service, which has been actively discussed in recent weeks and months. But it's not just any law, it is a real step forward, a giant step forward, because it clearly shows that we need an expansion of the Bundeswehr, better today than tomorrow, but it must be set up for the long term and be sustainable, and that it's also about simultaneously changing the mindset in society, especially among young men and women, to change and promote responsibility for this service to the country. Everyone from the young generation will therefore need to decide differently than before: what do I want to contribute to the security of my country, in which I live? Do I want to contribute? Do I not care? Do I want to take responsibility? And if so, in what capacity? And the young women and men will think about it with their friends and families when the letter arrives that replaces the old registration, the questionnaire, that then needs to be filled out digitally. And the debates that will take place there in families, workplaces, schools, and universities are intentional and necessary because it is about raising and strengthening awareness. And only from this debate will men and women who have just turned 18 be able to develop a stance and make a well-considered, individual, and confident decision. And that is precisely the strength of this law. Why do we need a new military service? With all the public discussions of the past weeks and months, one thing is undisputed, even this morning and in recent weeks. The Bundeswehr must grow. The international security situation, especially the aggressive behavior of Russia, necessitates this. We need not only a well-equipped force, and we are in full swing on that front. We have been working on that for 2.5 years and will not stop. But we also need a Bundeswehr that is strong in personnel. Only then is deterrence as a whole truly credible against Russia. In other words, a strong army, both in personnel and equipment, is the most effective means to prevent wars. And that is exactly what this is about. That is our goal. We do not need not only active soldiers. Here, the numbers are already increasing, very gratifyingly and at previously unknown rates. In addition, we particularly need a well-prepared reserve for the years ahead. And right here conscription comes into play. After training with the Bundeswehr, the young men and women become part of the reserve. All reservists strengthen the force, bolster homeland security, and relieve the combat troops then, if things become serious. To have an overview of who is available and who is out there, we need to reinvent the military registration, which hasn't existed since 2011. Military registration, just like military surveillance, will be the key point right at the beginning. And we achieve voluntariness primarily through the attractiveness of the service. We optimize the training. We offer qualification modules for all those who stay longer than 6 months. I have in mind too, in Germersheim a few weeks ago, I was able to see how the training works and how progress becomes visible. We integrate drone training, for example, for every soldier. We bind the young men and women even more closely into the active troops. No one is sidelined. Everyone is meant to be fully involved. We train them to be guard and security soldiers. We train them, we qualify them for enhanced homeland defense. And very importantly, we improve the pay. The salary will in the future be €2,300 net. This is a significant increase. There are no costs for accommodation, and there are no costs for health insurance. So all in all, it's a package that significantly increases attractiveness compared to the current status quo. We offer flexible training periods, allowing everyone to decide for themselves how long they want to stay with us. I'll abbreviate this part, as you all know the individual modules. But one thing is clear, we provide the best possible qualification, especially for those who stay longer. These can include language courses, driver's licenses, IT courses, and much more. Yet, it is still not guaranteed that voluntary participation is enough. The Chancellor has mentioned it. But the goal of building up a reserve of 200,000 by the end of the decade, consisting of 100,000 from the existing reserve that is not currently deployed, and 100,000 from the new military service by the year 2029-30, this buildup must not be jeopardized. My aim is, and I repeat what I have said in the German Bundestag and on other occasions, Germany, due to its size and economic strength, is the country that must have the strongest conventional army on the European side of NATO.